Yo, what's up everybody? Jumping here, and today I'm going to be showing you all my builds for the soldiers. I'm going to be continuing this series, and we're going to start today with the human soldier. The weapon that I would say is probably the best weapon for him is the claymore. You shoot it, you adrenaline rush, you shoot it. So there you go. Like, it's absolutely amazing. Now you got to remember you get 2 humans, but to be quite honest, adrenaline rush and frag grenades, they're just too good. So the builds are practically the same. There's a couple difference, I would say. I'm not going to show the female because there's no point, but I'll tell you what you might want to do for the female compared to the male, or vice versa, whichever one you prefer to play as. A lot of people prefer to play as a female than a male. It's really up to you. Alright, for adrenaline rush, on this guy, I recommend damage. On, let's say, your other human, you could go for hardening. Now, hardening is good. It gives you 40% damage protection, and God knows he needs it. He's human, he's flimsy, he gets dropped. So the damage protection is nice, but when it comes down to just like a damage dealer, claymore, all that, I do prefer the damage, so that's just me. Melee damage, you don't go for this because you want melee damage. You go for this because you do not want duration. The lower the duration of adrenaline rush, the better chance of you pulling off the double shot with the claymore. So it's bam, adrenaline rush, bam. So duration kind of interferes with that, so I don't go for it. Shield boost, this is amazing. 100% of your shields back, meaning 500 shields back, because it purely goes off the base. No concussive shot. I really don't like concussive shot no more. They've done some things to it to try to make it better. Just not a fan of it, honestly. For frag grenades, I go for damage. Bleed damage. Bleed damage is actually really good. If you hit any organic enemy, like if you leave them like a brute, for example, you leave him with 2 bars of armor, or a cannibal, or something like that with 3 bars of health, you can walk away from them, and this probably will kill them. So this is really good. It works against all organics. Almost the entire game is organic. Geth obviously are not. The turrets from Cerberus and the atlases from Cerberus are not organic, and that's about it. Everything else is. Armor piercing. Now this is the only other difference that I would say on the other human. If you were going to make a second human, you might want to go for shield overload. I like them both. I think shield overload is great against anything with shields. You're more likely to kill them in like one, well, maybe, well, you're not going to kill any enemy with shields probably in 1 grenade, but you'll at least like do all their shields and like half their health from 1 grenade, compared to just doing like, let's say, all their shields, because literally frag grenades will take down all the shields if you hit them. So that's the way I look at it. I like the armor piercing better just for bigger enemies like brutes, ravengers, banshees, all that. And like I said, for the other human, you could also go for hardening. So that would be the only difference. Maybe go for shield overload, maybe go for hardening. It's up to you. Now for the alliance training, I like weapons damage, headshots, and weapons damage. All weapons damage stuff, because that's what he's all about. He's a soldier. You shoot him in the face with the claymore, you kill him. Fitness, all shields, and that's about it. So like I said, I'm going to skip the other human. Let's go to the Krogan now. Now the Krogan is really, really good. I haven't done a video with the Krogan since they came out with the whole fire explosion thing, but when it comes down to fire explosions, he is like so freaking good at that. And incendiary grenades are just really, really good in general. Now, I like the hurricane on him. I like to use stability because I cannot stand the kick. You can always hip fire it and go for something like heat sink if you want, or even the armor piercing barrel. So I prefer to use armor piercing ammo on him. If you are not using, I highly recommend always use some type of armor piercing. If it's on a barrel, it has to be the ammo itself. So keep that in mind. But I do like stability on it just so I can aim it in, no recoil. And then power magnifier, very important because he uses grenades. Almost everyone with grenades, I do recommend maybe using power magnifier. And Carnage is great too. Alright, so here's the build. Fortification, I go for durability. Power synergy, this is really good for the grenades. It's so good. And durability. For Carnage, I go for damage, recharge speed, and I actually like armor damage. I like the armor damage because actually, in fact, I don't know if I would go for this. I do like the armor damage better for Carnage in general. And the reason for that is because it does so much more damage against armor compared to just damage. Like, it's surprising, but if you look up the stats on it, it really does. But the problem is that with him, you got the incinerator grenade, so you might not need the armor damage. You could just go for damage, because the incinerator grenades are going to kill everything with armor so quick that I don't really know if this is really going to make much of a difference. So it's really up to you what you want to go for. For Inferno grenades, I go for damage, and armor damage. It's all about just dropping enemies with armor. They do a ton of damage, a ton of DPS. For the Berserker, I go for weapons damage just to help me shoot stuff and kill them faster, and then I go for power damage. And for Rage, I just go 3 points into it. He's a Krogan, so I mean he has 1,350 shields and 1,000 health just from 3 points into this. And you have the fortification, the 40% damage reduction. You can strap on a cyclonic on him or shield power cells. I prefer shield power cells because he has a high amount of shields and they will recharge really quickly. So. And of course, when you're talking about cyclonics, you're talking about something that you might not have a lot of. Nobody really has a ton of cyclonics, unless you never use them. Alright, now for the Turian. This is one of the best soldiers in the game. I recommend the Typhoon. I love the Typhoon on this guy. Honestly, there's so many good weapons for the Turian, it's really up to you. The Typhoon and the Hurricane are probably my two favorites. But I've been just experimenting with the Typhoon, and I'm not the biggest fan ever of using a Typhoon, but then again, I really like it on this guy. I really do. Like, I just love it. It just mows down enemies super quick, especially if you play against Reapers. It's a lot of fun. And yes, I have it at 9. I wish I can get it to 10. I just haven't got it. Now for Marksman, I go for fire rate, headshots. This is glitched. It does not apply to bosses, but it applies to everything else. So it's still worth getting it because, once again, with duration, this will reload your gun. And when you're talking about the Typhoon, that does come in handy. So I don't want the duration to be 10 seconds. And then accuracy and fire rate. It's all about just speeding up your shots and getting a little bit of accuracy bonus. Proxy Mine, I don't really use it much, but obviously you can to debuff bosses. I go for radius, damage taken, and recharge speed. That's pretty much the point. Turian Veteran, I go for damage and stability, headshots, and damage and stability. Fitness, all shields. He is probably one of the best soldiers to this day just because of all the different weapons you can use. Now for the Battlefield 3 Soldier, I like him a lot too. Really good at doing fire explosions, really good at fighting against Reapers. I use the Talon. I normally use armor piercing ammo, so I use the big barrel, and I also use power magnifier on him. I do not have him set up apparently, but whatever. Let me undo that actually real quick. Alright, I'll just set him up. So what I would recommend on him, Carnage, go for the damage, the recharge speed, and you should go for armor damage on him because frag grenades aren't really, they're not designed to just do armor damage, but you could still use them to do it. Alright, so we're going to go for damage, we're going to go for bleed damage, and probably armor damage. For this right here, I don't know if I actually should have put any points into this. I might leave it at that. I think I might just leave it at that. I would normally recommend maybe going damage. Yeah, we'll just do that. We'll go damage and capacity and power damage. For fitness, see, this is the tricky part. You got a lot of options here. Okay, so you could leave this at 3 and then max out Adrenaline Rush because you can get the hardening to help you stay alive, and you can also get the shield boost to help you stay alive. You can always just get the full fitness and just skip Adrenaline Rush and maybe go for weapons damage. That's up to you. That's something. There's a lot of things you can do. I would probably recommend building them like this because in my video I have of the Battlefield 3 Soldier, I was using them pretty much like this. And the point of it was to just restore my shields, give me a little bit of damage protection. When you have that on though, when you have Adrenaline Rush on, you're not able to use Carnage, so you have to keep that in mind. But still, it's whatever. It's just meant to save your life, and it will definitely help you save your life. So, alright, that's his build for the most part. For the Batarian, let's see here. Alright, for the Batarian, you can use a lot of different weapons on him. You can use the Reaker Carbine, I like that. I have the Harrier on him right now because of all his ammo bonuses, so this is a little bit different. You probably haven't seen a build like this from me, but I go for Ballistic Blades. I like the damage. Cone Spread used to be godly. It's not so godly anymore, so I like the damage now more, range. And I go for Exploding Blades. If you're going to use something like the Reaker Carbine, do not go for Exploding Blades. If you're going to use anything else, go for Exploding Blades. Because that's just how it is. Like, the Reaker Carbine kills so fast that the blades will never explode. But other guns probably won't kill them fast enough to actually, you know, they'll blow up with the Exploding Blades, and it's worth it then. Blade Armor, I have it on this build, I have it at 3. Because I like the damage protection. I mean, 25% damage protection is always good. I don't really need all this other stuff, though. It's not really gonna... I don't think that's worth it. And I have the Inferno Grenades on him as well. Inferno Grenades are just good. And I like it on him because against anything with armor, these grenades really just wreck. They wreck, they wreck, they wreck. So I go for damage, and I go for armor damage. The point of it is that Ballistic Blades are used for every normal enemy, and I would say use Inferno Grenades on anything with armor. Bosses, and Brutes, and Ravengers, Scions, all that kind of stuff, Dragoons, just melt them away. For the Batarian Enforcer, I like weapons damage, because it gives me a little bit of spare ammo and weapons damage, power damage, and also, finally, weapons damage and ammo. For the Fitness, I like durability, and I like the shield recharge. Like I told you before in the last video, shield recharge is nice. You can see it. You know what I mean? Like if you don't have it, there is a like noticeable difference between not having it compared to having it. Now for the Vorcha, this guy is also extremely good at doing fire explosions. The gun, you can use a lot of different guns on him. I have the Scorpion on him right now. I really like the Scorpion. It's good for stunning enemies like phantoms and all that. And the reason why I think the Scorpion's a great gun is because, on him at least, you can shoot the enemy, stun them, keep them all locked up, do some good damage to them, have power magnifier on the Scorpion, and generally when you play with a guy like this, just like all flamers, you're going to kill the enemies with your powers more than anything else, so you don't have to worry about your gun all that much. You can also, of course, use the Hurricane on him as well. That's another good one. Alright, for Bloodlust, I like Health Regeneration, Power Damage, and Health Regeneration. For Flamer, Reach, Damage, Armor Damage. For Carnage, I go for Damage, Recharge Speed, and Damage. Gotta remember, against armor, you have this, so that isn't really worth it. It's better just to do more damage to the normal enemies. I like the damage and capacity for the Vorcha thing, and I like just a little bit of durability. Without that, without the little bit of fitness, believe me, he doesn't have enough health to really stay alive. He has 1100 health when you get that 4th rank in there, and it really does help him out a lot. Out of all the Vorcha Sentinel is definitely better than the Vorcha Soldier. I never used the Vorcha Soldier, to be quite honest. I just don't really think that he's worth it. Like I said, I really do like the Vorcha Sentinel a lot better. But when it comes down to using Flamer in general, it's all about the Geth Trooper. Like that's, there you go. Like that's the thing. Alright, now for the N7 Destroyer. I recommend you can use a lot of different guns on him as well. I really like using the Raider as my second weapon. But another really good one is Executioner Pistol. Oh, don't want to do that. Executioner Pistol, because with his ammo bonus and extended mags, you can have 2 shots in this gun. And it is pretty good when you have 2 shots, because you can kill most every enemy in 2 shots, besides things like bosses and brutes and that kind of stuff. But like Ravengers, you can kill them normally in 2 shots. Things like, just, I don't know, Turians take 1 shot to take the shields, the 2nd shot to kill them. It's pretty good. That's a good gun, but I still prefer the Raider. I really like the Raider on him. I don't know why. I just do. Alright, now the guns that his primaries, you can use anything from the Harrier to the Typhoon, and probably his best gun, I personally think, to use is, where the hell is it? It's the particle rifle, if I can ever find it. Here we go. Particle rifle. Particle rifle is probably the one gun I recommend over everything else. Like, this is the gun I really think is amazing on him. It's easy to aim, so you don't have to worry about stunning enemies. You can pretty much aim it. It's super easy. Anything with armor, you can always bust out the Raider. And the particle rifle just does a lot of DPS. Alright, for Devastator mode, I like the weapons accuracy, the rate of fire, and the damage bonus. Max shields is also really good, so it's really up to you which one you want. Do you want max shields, or do you want the damage bonus? I prefer the damage. Now, multi-frag grenades, honestly, are a lot better than Hawk Missile Launcher. They are. And they're super good against armor. Anything that gets close to you, you can pretty much multi-frag them and kill them. So, yeah, multi-frag is pretty dope. But I'm sure you guys want to see some type of Hawk Missile Launcher build, so that's what I'm going to show you. What I recommend is the shield penalty, because if you don't go for this, you lose 50% of your shields, which means 500 shields. His base is 1,000, 50% of that is 500 shields. So 10% of your shields, you lose 100 shields. That's not a big deal. This Hawk Missile Launcher isn't that bad, honestly. Like, it does just that little extra DPS, a little bit more damage to really, like, be good, honestly. Like, you'll kill enemies and stuff with the Hawk Missile Launcher all the time. Refire time, I like this a lot because it makes it so that the missiles fire more often. That's always good. And Hydra missiles. Cobra missile, never really played with it much, but the Hydra missiles I like because it fires 2 extra missiles. So instead of shooting 1 missile, it shoots 3 missiles, and you can pretty much multiply the damage and force and all that by 3. So 280 damage times 3, 280 force times 3. So in general, you get more bang from your buck from Hydra missiles than Cobra missiles. Alright, for his battle suit, this is obvious. Weapons damage, headshots, and weapons damage. There's no point to go for any power damage because he's meant to just use weapons. There you go. For his fitness, all shields. He's a good human because he has 1650 shields. Although, one thing about the Destroyer, guys, when you lose your shields, you die. That's it, because he has that normal health or normal human health, and humans are flimsy. So that's it. I do like to use shield power cells with him. That's one thing. Shield power cells are good with him, and of course cyclonic 4s are good with him. Now for the Havoc. By the way, there's more soldiers than anyone else, so this video is going to be quite long just because there's so many freaking soldiers in this game. Alright, for the Havoc, I recommend the Hurricane or Harrier, one of those 2 guns. I like the Harrier a lot on him. I like the Hurricane a lot on him because there's no recoil on the Hurricane, and the Harrier is just a really good gun. But I do recommend the Alkalite as a secondary with melee stunner. The reason why I say that is because when I play against Cerberus, if I'm playing with him, I like to pull that out, take down the Phantom's shield all the way, and then do his heavy melee. If you do that heavy melee, you take down their barriers, you'll knock them down on their ass. And then they're pretty much dead. Once they get knocked down on their ass, you can switch over to your Hurricane or whatever, finish them off. And a lot of times you'll actually kill them with the melee, so I really, really, really like the Alkalite on them. I don't like the Havoc Strike build anymore. I really don't. The only thing Havoc Strike's good for, in my opinion, is the weapon synergy. That's about it. I just don't like it. Instead, I like to just use them as a stim pack, cryoblast kind of build, because that's good. Anytime you have someone running around cryoblasting all the enemies, that's good for the entire team. You're debuffing all the enemies for you and all your teammates. That's fantastic. Stim packs are great because he's a soldier that will rarely die. I mean, he really won't die all that often because he has stim packs. Every time you're about to die, you just stim pack. But I still like to set the stim packs up for the damage bonus, so I go for like damage, duration, and weapons damage. You could go for all the max shields if you want, and more melee damage and all that, just to make it so that you are literally invincible. But I played with him with just the damage bonuses, and I like never die, so I don't really think all that extra shields are really that necessary unless you want to use them. If you feel like you need them because you all are always getting shot or you can't kill enemies fast enough, then yeah, go for that. Cryoblastus is always the same: radius, cryo explosion, and frozen vulnerability. This Cryoblast is still probably one of the best debuffs in this game by far. For his Legion, I like damage and stability, headshots, and damage and stability. Once again, he's all about weapons because Cryoblast doesn't really do any damage for real. And you cryoblast him, you debuff him, and you shoot him. He does a lot of damage. When you really add up all the damage that Havoc can do, it's one of the... I really do believe that the only other soldier that can come close is just the normal human with Adrenaline Rush. Because he does a lot of damage. He gets all the damage. He gets so much damage bonus from Cryoblast, Legion, Stim Packs, all that. It's pretty dope. Fitness, I like durability. Martial Artist. Now the reason why I say go for this is because you don't need this. You have Stim Packs. So Martial Artist, if you can get that melee killed, you'll do more melee damage. And the Havoc's melee is great. And Fitness Expert. So that's the Havoc in a nutshell. Let's keep going to the best soldier in the game by far. My favorite soldier. Besides the human. The human's really good. But this guy he's not even a soldier, honestly. He's pretty much a caster. But just the amount of damage that Flamer does on him, it's just ridiculous. It's so good. Highly recommend the Hurricane. If you want, you could bring the Alkalite as a secondary. You can always carry two weapons. So Alkalite, Hurricane for maybe Platinum. But in general, for just gold, Hurricane only. That's all you need. Definitely, I like the stability, and I like the... And I also like the Power Magnifier. I mean, you can really notice the difference of Flamer when you have Power Magnifier on compared to when you don't have it on. And I just always use Armor Piercing Ammo on him. And that's pretty much it. But he's just so good, guys. Alright. One thing I love about him is that Flamer's on Y. I'm sure some people might not like that, but my R bumper and L bumper does not work right because I played this game too much and you always press those buttons. So by Flamer being on Y, he's one of the only people I can use and actually like enjoy, because I'm talking about like my R bumper pisses me off. I'll be pressing it, it doesn't work, and I'm like, work! Ah! And same with the L bumper, it does the same thing. So with him, you can just press Y. Alright, so Flamer, reach, damage, and armor's damage, it's pretty much the same. Fortification, durability, power synergy. Now this is the thing I think that makes Flamer so much better on him compared to the Vorcha, because he gets that kind of, he gets power damage bonus from fortification. Finally, durability. You don't need to worry about power recharge at all. Flamer's recharge is amazing. Really don't recommend Hunter mode. Yeah, you get more damage, true, but he's all about just being like this really beefy, like almost invincible kind of Geth Flamer. Shield power cells on him, they're so good. Like, you will never die. I never die when I use shield power cells. On Platinum, I would use Cyclonics, but on Gold, I always use shield power cell. Alright, so I go for damage and capacity, power damage, and weapons damage for his network AI, and then, of course, all fitness for his advanced hardware. Alright, so that's him in a nutshell. Like I said, he's one of the best and easiest soldiers in the game, and one of the easiest people to use in the game. And if you play with anybody who is using Overload or any decent teammates that might be detonating fire explosions for you, he is so amazing. Alright, now for the Quarian Marksman, which is, in my opinion, one of the worst soldiers. The reason being is that he doesn't get anything all that great, I don't think. Like, he has Marksman, true, but then the Turian, he gets, I like him better for Marksman, because he gets all the stability bonuses, where this guy doesn't. The weapon I recommend is the Particle Rifle. The reason being is because it's easy to aim, easy to get headshots and all that. For Marksman, I like fire rate, duration, just because I'm using a Particle Rifle, why not? And accuracy and fire rate. Tactical scan, I recommend this over sabotage. Sabotage, it just feels out of place, and you want to use Marksman on anybody who has Marksman, you want to use Marksman. Sabotage, it has a pretty long recharge. I mean, look at this, 7 seconds. Now, of course, you can always get the recharge bonuses and all that, but still, like that's a long recharge right there. So I prefer the tac scan. I only use it on bosses though, that's what I recommend. Just use it on the bosses. So I like the weapons damage because this helps everyone. Everyone can shoot the boss and kill it quicker. Movement speed, because apparently, I'm not sure about this, but I heard headshots are glitched. so you don't need headshots. Go for the movement speed. And then finally, damage. Area scan is, I like area scan, but if I'm only going to use it on the bosses, more than likely it's going to be like the last enemy left, or this is out of place. Like on a boss, you just want to debuff it to death and then shoot it and kill it. I just go for all weapons stuff in his Quarian Defender, weapons damage, headshots, and weapons damage. And his fitness is glitched, so I go for fitness, but you know, he doesn't have the Quarian fitness. He has a human fitness, so he's flimsy as hell. I really do think he's one of the worst soldiers in the game. Alright, now for the Geth Juggernaut. Pretty much everybody's favorite person in the game, like at least all of the randoms you play with. All randoms love this guy. I like him too. I don't like to play with him though, I gotta be honest. I'm not a fan of playing with him, but I don't mind it when people play with him. I have no problem with that, because if I'm playing with a person who probably isn't that good, if they play Geth Juggernaut, they're not gonna die a lot. And that's just good for me, because that means I don't have to go and pick them up all the time. So Geth Juggernaut's great. You can use a lot of different weapons on him. I like the Lancer on him. That's my favorite weapon to use on him, because he has regenerating ammo, so you don't have to go to the ammo boxes. He's so damn slow. You don't want to have to walk to the damn ammo boxes. It's a great gun, all that. And I know a lot of you people out there probably do not have the Lancer. So if you don't have the Lancer, you can use a lot of different guns on him. But I will still recommend regenerating ammo guns, like the particle rifle. The particle rifle is probably one of his best guns as well. I use him as a caster more than anything else, so that's why I say use the Lancer. If you're going to try to use Surge Pulse a lot for just some extra damage, and it's really good, guys. It is so freaking good. Particle rifle isn't the greatest, because with particle rifle, you have to let it rev up to the full speed, and when I'm like just spamming Surge Pulse over and over again, the Lancer is the better choice, because I'll never run out of ammo. You could even strap on the Collector SMG, honestly. You could strap on the Collector SMG. That is something. It has regenerating ammo. You're going to be using Surge Pulse, all that. It's something you can do. You can also use the Hurricane. I like the Hurricane on him as well for just the extra power damage. A lot of good pistols. You could use Scorpion. There's a lot of good things for him. It's really up to you what you want to use. You can even use Collector Sniper Rifle or Sniper Rifles like the Black Widow maybe. I don't know. Alright, so now for the build. I like Surge Pulse. It is amazing. I go for damage, recharge speed. I hate people that go for this. You do not need this, guys. He is so freaking beefy. You don't need the damage protection. Like, when I play with him, I never die. I don't even come close to dying. So, you don't need damage protection. He has so much shields. Oh, man, he has so much shields. You put shield power cells on him, it's over. You put cyclonic on him, it's over. You're not gonna die, ever. You do not need damage protection. So the recharge speed is better. And then resistance damage. This is great because it does more damage to, well, everything. And it does a lot more damage to everything. For the Geth turret, I like all the shields. Not for myself, more for my teammates. You can obviously throw it out anytime you want when you think you might need some extra shields. But I love it for my teammates because I can always just throw it out. He walks so slow that there's a good chance that your teammates are going to be fighting enemies and you're trying to catch up to where they are so you can help. In the meantime of you walking like a slowpoke in and over there, throw out your turret. Help them out, Once it, you can throw it out, let it heal one of your teammates, and then throw it out again and let it heal another one of your teammates. Keep them alive before you get over there. So I like that. Alright, now for his Juggernaut, I go for weapons damage, power damage. You could always go for stability and ammo. It really depends on the gun you're going to use. If you're going to use a Hurricane, yeah, stability and ammo is pretty damn good. But I like the power damage for the Surge Pulse, and I go for weapons damage. For fitness, I go for all shields. One thing I was confused about a long time ago when I did my first video with him was power transfer. Yeah, power transfer, it gives you 75% health and shields bonus, which is amazing. It makes it so that you restore more shields when you do your heavy melee, but it decreases all the damage that you do by 15%. So that's a good trade, I think. I don't mind doing 15% less damage when I get all that health and shields, because I can always make that up easy by just strapping on equipment and all that kind of stuff. So I don't really think that's a big deal. This thing right here, I like this too, but not really. Like, this is the way I think of it. Squad Command is actually really good. I was thinking about doing a video like this. 4 Geth Juggernauts on Platinum, all using Squad Command. They will stay together. Like, Geth Juggernauts will almost always stay together because they walk the same pace. They're not going to go run off on their own. So if you use Squad Command, when you think about it, that's pretty damn dope because if everyone has it, then everyone in that 4-meter radius will walk away with 30% more damage. Like, obviously, it doesn't affect you, but it will affect all the other Juggernauts around you. And if all the other Juggernauts around you also have the same thing, then you're talking about some, like, really, really ridiculous damage that potentially you can get. So, I mean, that's badass. I think that's something that you guys could try out there if you have some friends. You lose all that extra health and shields, but you can always make that up with cyclonics. I mean, with a cyclonic, I think he gets like 7,600 shields. That's amazing if you have a cyclonic 4. I think that's what it is. Alright, so anyway, that's all my soldiers, guys. I really hope you have enjoyed this. I'll come up with another one of these videos soon, so watch out for that. Please like and subscribe and favorite, you know, all that for me. I really appreciate it. I'm really happy to be back, and I hope that you guys are happy too. So you guys have a wonderful day or night, whatever, and peace out.